Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are used for storytelling purposes and may be fictional or speculative. The opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not reflect those of Cosmic Crumbs or its hosts. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy of any stories discussed, and we are not responsible for how this content is interpreted or used. This show contains vulgar language and sometimes graphic material. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, chat, and welcome to another episode of the CC, the Cosmic Crumbs podcast. If you're out there listening, thank you so much for joining. I need to turn on comments here just in case we get any visitors today. But what is new this week? Man, not much on my end. Just in the way of food and, new recipes. We had some voters that voted on some different things to talk about. We had some folks submit recipes, including Landa. What's up, Landa? Thank you for jumping on. Hopefully you can hear me okay this week. Let me know if I'm having technical issues or something like that. But this week, as always, you can go to the link tree. It's linked down below. It's linked below my name here. You can go here to choose our next adventure. We can share stories on this one, share recipes on this one, and maybe most importantly, get on the mailing list, because I've decided that the only reason that, or the only way that you're going to get recipes from me is if you sign up for the mailing list. So Landa's awesome recipe that she submitted, it's going out in tonight's email to everybody that's listening. So anytime anybody submits stuff, that's going to be a spam mailing list exclusive for recipes so that you have it in writing and don't lose it. But if you submit a story, that'll be the first thing I read for the day. So just a little tweak there. But anywho, this week we have a plethora of videos, including one that Morgana sent last week. It's for Mexican taco. No, I think she called it Mexican tuna. Hang on. We'll go ahead and get started. It is Mexican tuna. This is Morgana sent this. And please feel free, if you come across videos throughout the week of food that you want to share, shoot TikTok. I'll play the video, or YouTube, or whatever it is. And we'll play the video. Check it out. But anywho, this is Jen Morales, Fam 04. Sometimes I forget the names, but even if I do forget the names, they'll all be in the follow-up. I don't know about Mexican tuna. I'm trying to think about how all this stuff would taste in tuna. I feel like cilantro might be a little weird. You can't hear the video. Well, that's not good. Oh, it's because I don't have it'd help if I had the audio turned on. But you didn't miss much. She just said it's Mexican tuna. But yeah, I don't know how I feel. Definitely tomatoes and tuna is a no-go, but I don't know how I'd feel about this other stuff in there either.
I'm going to add in my onion. I like this tuna because there's not very much liquid. It's pretty much dry. So make sure you drain your tuna really well because you don't want no wet tuna. I'm going to chop my tomatoes. I'm going to throw in my tomatoes. I'm going to add in 2 avocados.
What's in bracelet?
I'm going to add in my avocado that I cut into a chunk.
What if you accidentally got one of your charms in the tuna salad?
I'm going to chop 1 jalapeno. I am going to leave the seeds. If you don't want it hot, take out the seeds. I'm going to add in my jalapeno. And I'm going to add a whole bunch of cilantro.
I don't know.
I'm gonna add in my cilantro. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lime. I'm gonna add some salt, some black pepper, and your favorite mayo. I'm gonna add probably about a cup of mayo, or maybe a little bit less than a cup of mayo. I think that's about right. And then you just get in there, mix it together. Mix all that good stuff together. It smells so good. Love to eat this with saltines or even like a tostada. But right here, I have some little bruschetta toast. And yeah, I feel like eating it with something crunchy. Let's get in there. I got a little bit. I got an avocado, some tomato, onion, a little bit of everything.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, you got the recipe in the caption. If you want to give this a run, it'll be in the email. I even texted the submitter of this while we were watching that and said that I think it's questionable. You're intrigued, Landa. That's shocking, actually. I just can't imagine a tuna salad, though, with the hunks of tomato, the cilantro. Maybe that sounds great. The avocado. You're talking about a bunch of really, really, really potent tastes. I feel like the taste would just conflict because cilantro is super powerful. Tuna is extremely powerful. Tomato is powerful. The onion's powerful. Jalapeno. So it's like she took the strongest possible tastes and put them in a bowl and ate them on a cracker. Put that on a cracker. Okay, Landa, I'll concede. I'll send it in an email after the show. But yeah, Morgana sent this one, and I texted because albeit I appreciate the submission. We have to have submissions. I need you guys to participate. But sometimes I see recipes and I'm just like, man, that's for somebody. It's just not me. I understand what you're saying about the jalapeno popper, but it don't got tuna in it. I would feel the same way if like you crammed this mixture back into a jalapeno and popped it that way. But I get it. To each their own. And the rest of the videos today are a mixed bag. I intentionally got some high protein recipes because I think somebody said they wanted to see some more of those. So I've got a couple more high protein recipes that we'll check out today. Well, yes, it will, but only because everything is so powerful. Like all of it's powerful flavors. Let's see what we got next.
I'm about to do something with taco meat that no one's ever seen before.
Okay, now this is a Mexican recipe I can get behind. I already know. It's slop.
Or at the very least, I've never seen it before. This idea started because I was trying to think of something creative. And for some reason, taco meat just kept coming to mind. So I'm going with that. As you can see, we're starting with 1 pound of ground beef. Then you're going to want a packet of taco seasoning. I had to make my own. Because again, I'm making this up on the spot. So I thought I had a pack. I guess I don't. And then we're going to add in a little bit of water and give that a good mix. Now here's where things get crazy. I got 2 tablespoons.
Pro tip, don't put water in your taco mix. Use some sort of broth. Really any recipe that calls for water. Unless it's needed for like a bacon recipe or something. If you're just frying something down, use broth or stock or whatever. Something with flavor.
Spoons of flour going down. And we're going to mix and cook that flour down for a couple minutes. And now we're adding 2 cups of milk. And this is where my idea was. I was thinking biscuit gravy. I've never seen taco seasoned biscuit gravy, but we're not making biscuits and gravy. So let's get this to a simmer so it can thicken up and we can move on. And after simmering for about 7 minutes, boom, taco gravy. Now
that already looks good.
The taco gravy was cooking. I got some jalapeno
You could just put the taco gravy over some rice and it would be killer, I think.
cornbread in the oven. And the cornbread is simple. I'm dropping 2 boxes of the Jiffy corn muffin mix. And we're just following directions. So I need 2/3 cup milk, 1 egg, 2 eggs. But I am going to add this can of diced green chilies, give it some extra flavor, and go with the taco meat gravy. And then we'll give that a good mix. Perfect. Now I got to...
I don't know if he put jalapenos in that, but that would be the bomb if you put jalapenos in that.
Greased up casserole dish. We're going to pour this in. Level it out. Put it into a 400-degree oven while the meat's still cooking for about 15 minutes. Now we're going to take this taco gravy and we're going to put it on top of the cornbread. After carefully spreading the taco gravy on top, we're going to cover it with cheese. Now back into the oven for a couple minutes just to melt the cheese. And there we have it. This smells delicious. And we got the sour cream, the salsa, the hot sauce to go on top. Oh,
So you got...
oh yeah. You need to go.
I mean, this is basically the fundamentals of a breakfast bake. You got the dude making gravy out of just regular, well, basically instead of pork, he's using beef. And then instead of like a biscuit mix that you would use for the foundation, he's using cornbread. This looks amazing to me. I definitely want to give this a run because I don't think it could be bad. I don't think it's possible for this to be bad if you like Mexican stuff.
Put into a 400-degree
And like I
oven
said,
while the meat's still...
throw some jalapenos on there before you put your meat down, or embed the jalapenos into the Jiffy mix. Then you've got jalapeno cornbread Mexican slop. That's going to be fantastic.
cooking for about 15 minutes. Now we're going to take this taco.
That looks great. This man has reinvented. I've never heard of Dorito casserole, Landa. You'll have to submit that one. It looks phenomenal to me. Like once it's done, I'm sure you could dip it with Doritos even. Or you could crunch up Doritos on top and make like a crust. I don't know if that's what you mean. They don't have that here. You have to shoot me a recipe or a video and we'll play it. But okay, so we've got the Mexican slop, ultimate Mexican slop. Let's see what else we got. I'm gonna move some stuff around. Let's see.
Time to make us.
Okay, I just really wanted to make us all hungry with this. This isn't a recipe per se, but this dude's sandwiches look killer, and it just never fails. Anything he makes, anything this deli makes looks amazing.
First, we're gonna try on a little calabrese hot chili pepper to cook for the tailpipe. Come on, Maron, look at this. This, you're definitely gonna burn your tailpipe, my neck. We're gonna try on a few chicken cutlets with my homemade vodka sauce. But first, we're gonna try on.
I can't have the vodka sauce, but it looks amazing. These cutlets look amazing too.
A little fresh mozzarella, how you doing? Of course, come on. The fresh mozzarella, if they don't bleed milk, send it back, gabish.
I don't know that I've ever had mozzarella that bleeds milk. Maybe I've never had real mozzarella.
You guys already know, if it don't bleed milk, send it back. Look at this, come here. Look at this milk, come here, put the camera over here. Look at that milk, look at this dripping over here. Draining milk, gabish. Come on, bro. Forget about it. Come on, bro. Look at this melted mozzarella. Come on. Look at that. Forget about it. Come on, bro. Look at that. Forget about it. Watch the mozzarella. Look at that pole.
I think so, Landa.
A little hot supersad.
But
nice
I would still eat it.
Come on. Nice and thin. Look at that. Now we're going to throw on a little mixed greens. A little mixed greens. Now we throw on a few roasted peppers. Beautiful roasted peppers, mod on them here. Bro, look at the size of the sandwich. The roof is
Yeah, even if it is super spicy, I would still have to give it a run.
on fire. Chicken cutlets with a homemade vodka sauce, fresh mozzarella, mixed greens, roasted peppers, hot supersad on a ciabatta from Nicosia, of course. Don't forget, Giovanni's Italian Deli. How you doing?
Yeah, I'll send this video. Look at all these videos this guy does, and it's all just different sandwiches that he makes up. And there's lots of sauces. definitely can get some inspiration for some sandwiches on there. So I'll shoot this out too. See what else we got. Okay. This is egg salad. You either love egg salad or you hate egg salad. I used to love vodka sauce too when I could still eat tomatoes. I never was a particular fan of tomato, the vegetable or fruit, whatever you want to call it, but I loved tomato based sauces like pizza sauce, garlic pesto, marinara, all that good stuff, but I can't have it anymore. Well, okay. And this dude's eating this for
I
breakfast.
could eat this every day. This is my favorite way to cook an entire carton of eggs. We're gonna add them all into a nice big pot of water. Bring this up to a boil for about 10 minutes. Into a pot, add a whole bag of bacon, and crispy bacon is the way to go. Now we just crack all our eggs, add them into our bowl, along with our crispy bacon, shallots, sun-dried tomatoes, a couple large spoons of mayo, mustard, lemon juice, chopped dill, smoked paprika, and salt and pepper to taste. And now you just wanna mash all that together. Look at that.
That's pretty basic. Pretty basic egg salad. Yeah, I agree, Landa. It's like a weird pomegranate or something. But for those of you that do like egg salad, maybe this is a little bit different. I don't think I've ever heard anybody putting shallot in their egg salad, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But let's see.
I've lost 60 pounds.
Okay, here's one of the high protein recipes. This looks good to me because I love cheese sticks. So
I've lost 60 pounds while eating meals like this on repeat. Let me show you how to make my high protein, low carb, and low fat mozzarella sticks.
it looks legit.
These are so good. You have to make them. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna start with some string cheese. And I've been testing this all week in various different ways with different kinds of cheese. And the best I found is the low moisture part skim. Using the Galbani low moisture part skim mozzarella sticks or string cheese. If I just take them, cut them.
Have you noticed that cheese sticks have gotten so much smaller? The last time we bought cheese sticks, I'm like, man, this string cheese is really small compared to what it used to be. They keep shrinking it.
In half. For each one string cheese, I'll get 2 of the mozzarella sticks. I already have a bunch cut right here. Also, I'm going to use 92% lean ground chicken. I find if you use something too lean, it's not as good for this particular recipe. This works really nicely. And I do get 8 of the mozzarella sticks out of this one container with the size that I'm making today. So I'm just gonna take the chicken, cut it down the center, down the middle, and then on both sides, it gives me 8 even pieces. So easy. And then I'll just take each section one at a time. Just gonna flatten it out in my hand. Take the cheese and just form it around. I like to shape it like cylindrical, but then also take the ends and tap them so it is shaped more like a mozzarella stick. See? Then I have here a container of eggs and then a breadcrumb mixture. I'm just gonna take that.
I'd have to season the meat. That's killing me. Even before you do all this jazz, she ain't got no seasoning on there.
And put it into the egg mixture. Make sure it's coated, and then put that into the breadcrumbs. For this part, I just like to get a spoon and just.
That's a lot of meat.
And gently press the breadcrumbs into the chicken because it is pretty delicate, and I don't want to ruin the shape that I got. Now I'm just going to go into the egg mixture one more time.
That's a lot of meat for no seasoning. Even if it is cheese sticks, you're going to taste that chicken.
And same thing with the spoon here. And I also tested this without double dredging it. Tested it using cornstarch, then egg, then breadcrumbs. And this just, out of all the ways I tried it, this was the best, doing egg and breadcrumbs twice. Like I said, these are pretty delicate right now, so I'm just careful when I'm handling them. But I'm going to do the same thing to all the rest of these and then put them in the freezer until they're frozen all the way through. So I actually had to run and go to work. So these have been in the freezer for a while. Just spraying these with oil on the top side, and then I'll put them on my air fryer tray and spray them on the other side. So this part is also something that I tried out multiple times and tested. The temperature of the air fryer or oven or whatever you're using really matters. Every oven is different. I'm gonna put these in my air fryer at like 360, 365 for about 6 to 7 minutes. And then after that point, I will bump it up to 400 degrees for 7 to 8 minutes. And at the halfway point, I will just check them and turn them over. And from that point on, if I notice there's any mozzarella starting to seep out, I will just kind of turn it to manipulate it so the mozzarella is kind of on top and prevent all the cheese from spilling out.
I put these in for the first round of cooking, and I'm just gonna flip them over and put these back in the oven at 400 degrees.
Okay, these are all done and they look so good. I did 7 minutes at 365 degrees and then 7 minutes at 400 degrees. And you see that? The cheese is like poking out, but it didn't like drip out all the way. I feel like that's because of that double dredging and because of the temperature difference that we did with the 2 different cook times. These smell so good. I've got some marinara for dipping, some parm, and some fresh herbs. Oh my God, this looks so good. Oh my God, I'm so excited to try this. And I feel like my recipe testing has really paid off. I better have. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I fucking nailed that.
Okay. So there's a few things. The fundamentals are fine, like with the dredging, the dipping, all the stuff. The chicken has to be seasoned. It has to be. There's too much chicken. You're using a whole pound of ground chicken to make these 8 cheese sticks. That's a lot of chicken per cheese stick, and it ain't gonna taste like nothing. It ain't gonna taste like nothing. It's gonna taste like boiled chicken or something. You gotta season chicken is step 1. Step 2, this video makes this recipe look deceptively easy. Like you can just pop it in and go. But in reality, you're dealing with raw chicken as well. So you've got raw chicken that you're handling, which means that if you undercook this, your health could be at risk, meaning that you are absolutely going to have to tempt this, like with a meat thermometer, to be 100% sure that your chicken's cooked. The third thing is that, like we saw last week with how to cook the perfect chicken, you run the risk of like 1 to 2 minute differences of the outside of these cheese sticks looking good and crispy, and the chicken around that cheese turning out super dry and unseasoned on top of that. So I probably wouldn't make these because this is a lot of effort, and your margin of error is a thread. Absolute thread, unless you could dial it into where you knew the exact second that chicken was 160, 165 and pull it then. I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure. Anywho, let's move on. What else we got?
Sick and tired of making.
Second high protein recipe. This one looks a little better in my opinion. We'll see. A lot of times I don't watch these all the way through because I want to experience it with you the first time. So I just see that it's a recipe and save it, and then we can watch it together. So let's see.
Sick and tired of making the same old boring meal preps, and make these protein pizza bites. 138 calories, 18 grams of protein. You get 22. If you're new here, I dropped 78 big boy pounds without losing any flavor. So let's get into this big boy behavior and make it. First, get a diabolical amount of non-fat Greek yogurt, followed by 3 cups of fit flour, some salt. Mix it up until you get carpal tunnel, until it becomes this massive ball. Then break it.
I've never heard of fit flour.
Into 22 even little dough balls. Grab a muffin tin, grease them up nicely, drop them in, and flatten them out 400 degrees for approximately 10 minutes. 1 tablespoon of pizza sauce, 20 grams reduced fat obesity cheese, some pepperoni from the turkey. Place it back in the oven for 10 minutes and listen to that sizzle. Follow and like, because sick and tired of making the same old boring.
It's pretty simple. There's really good macros. That's like 18 grams of protein for 180 calories. You could eat 2 or 3 of them for lunch probably and make those fit into your macros really well. Depending on, I didn't see the carbs or anything. It just depends on what kind of diet you're doing. Or if you're not doing a diet and you're just tracking macros, I think these would fit in really well. So that will be in there. Let's see what else I got. I know I got a dessert in here somewhere.
This video and
Oh, okay. This might be I think I'm going to name this the moderately easy breakfast sandwich. I'm not going to call it easy. I'm not going to say it's hard, but this lady's about to peel potatoes straight into this pan and make a sandwich out of it. And that scares me. But
The girl made the same breakfast every day for a month, so I want to try it. She took a potato and just peeled it right into the pan. She had a lot more finesse than me. Okay, I did about this much. Here it is. Let it brown. Wait, she's salted at this point. There we go. Now we flip it. Woo! Then she scrambled an egg. I'm not going to scramble it. I can do it on top. Look. Oh. I can just do it like this. Now she shredded her cheese, but mine's like this. So we'll go. It's going to fold over. So now we melt it. Ooh. Okay, you ready? Oh, it's beautiful. I'm going to call it. Oh, hold on. It fits this way. Okay. It's literally so pretty. Okay. A little bit of she did sesame oil on her avocado. She hit it with more salt and pepper, some sauce, and
she just put Taco Bell sauce.
Woo!
She just put Taco Bell sauce on her eggs.
They always comment, oh, that's the first edible thing you've ever made. I make pretty food all the time. Okay.
Look at the state of this. Okay. I'm calling lunatic. Between the balloon, the shoulder cat, the Taco Bell hot mustard or whatever that is on her. Okay.
Oh, wait. One more thing. She also had a pickle.
A pickle.
Oh, it's just like the cheese and the egg and just the flavors, even just the sesame oil, like everything is perfect.
Why is this video so long?
This is too small of a portion to share. Sorry. It's the next day. I want to show you my breakfast. I woke up thinking about it.
Okay. No, I don't think I want a pickle for breakfast.
We melted.
It looks good though. Like before she added the Taco Bell mustard or whatever it was perfect. Put some hot sauce on it. I bet that would be killer. Put this on a sandwich. I bet that would be killer. Croissant, killer. But this scares me. The shredding the potatoes in the pan is what scares me with this. But I'd be willing to give it a run, I think. Let's see what else we got. This is the dessert that was promised to you. These are like bonbons, but apparently this is a Brazilian recipe.
Welcome back to Late Night Snacks. Tonight we're making Bella Baiana. It's a Brazilian dessert. It's so easy to make. You just need a tablespoon of salted butter in a saucepan and then 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. Then you're gonna add in 2/3 cup of sweetened coconut flakes in there, and you're gonna cook this on medium heat for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then it'll start pulling away from the pan eventually. After it's pulling away from the pan, you're just gonna take it off the heat, and then we're gonna put it in a separate bowl, and you're gonna cover it and put it in the refrigerator to where it's nice and cooled off. Then you're gonna take about a tablespoon of the mixture, roll it between your greased hands. I just grease my hands with butter. Make bite-sized pieces like this. Then in a saucepan, we're going to make the burnt sugar, which is 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of water, and 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And then you're just going to bring it to a boil until it's nice and amber in color. Okay, my sugar's really dark in color, and this part you have to be very careful, but you need a toothpick on these things, and you're just going to dip it really quick, swirl it around, and look, they look like this. And then back on parchment paper. Now we're going to repeat. I'm trying to move quickly. This pot is really hot, so you have to be careful. I'm just taking the toothpick out of them. Look at them. Listen how hard they are. I cannot believe how good these turned out, and this literally took me like 10 minutes. Listen to this. Oh, those are good.
That looks easy enough.
Wow. This is a 20 out of 10.
I would give those a run. It looks too easy. If it really is that easy. I don't know about it'd be more like the sugar would catch on fire or something, but it seems easy is what I'll say. Let me see. How are we going to do this week? I'm going to leave this guy up, and then I'm going to pull this guy over here, and we're going to put the chat up here so I can still see. Okay, I think I'm good. So this week, there were plenty of votes, so I had to shake the dice on one. And this week we're going to be talking about what local legend or horror story in your town, or what's a local legend or horror story in your town that everyone collectively believes or tells. And this is an archived post, which means that unlike last week, these are probably going to be pretty old stories, but if they're local and community-based stories, it should still be relevant. I'm sure that they're still being told locally today. And some of these are short. So I'm just going to run through them. The first story is about the Bandage Man. So this person says, we have the Bandage Man. It's basically a story of a guy who either got cut up, fell into a wood chipper, got into a fight with a bear. It depends on who you ask, and now wanders the woods along the highway covered in bandages. If you're lucky enough to pull over, he'll get in your car and kill you. I just recently saw a flyer on the bulletin board at a local post office asking for people's stories so someone can make a mockumentary. That's crazy. The next one. There's an old summer camp far into the woods near my town. Every kid that goes there learns the story of Skibo Bates. What a name. Skibo Bates. When the camp first opened, they had a big bonfire for all the kids that night, and some of them started picking on poor young Skibo. He gets shoved and trips into the fire, which sets his clothes up in flames, and he runs to the beach into the large lake. This sounds like Jason. Into the large lake the camp was built near. They never found him that night or recovered his body. The counselors all say that if you sneak out of your cabin at night, Skibo will find you and take his revenge. That's crazy. Somebody replied and said, we had something similar at a summer camp I went to, Buckethead. He was supposedly a janitor who worked at the camp, carrying around a lead bucket and mop to clean up. One day his bucket fell in the pool and he dove in to get it. In the process, though, the bucket accidentally went over his head and he couldn't get it off. Eventually, he got lead poison in it and went insane, and now roams the woods around the camp at night, eager to kill anybody that he can get his hands on. Wow. Some of these are going to be rippers. Let's see. There's a road on the outskirts of town called Constitution Drive. It is an unpaved road that leads to an old-looking farmhouse after about a mile down. The legend is that this house and an entire family of inbred albino people live there, and that they will murder anyone who gets close to the house. It's constantly driven on by teenagers smoking the weed and stuff like that, but nobody's ever been murdered. The one time that I drove down it, however, there was a pair of headlights behind my friend and I, which scared us to death and made us turn around. When we turned around, the other car was gone that was behind us. It was pretty freaky. It was a very narrow road with a cliff on one side and a steep hill on the other, so it's not easy to turn around and disappear. The next story, these are going to be quick hitters. I can already tell. People aren't writing books like they do for some of these other threads. There's a road in a wooded area where I live, and the street is literally called Hairy Man Road. Legend goes that there was a kid who separated from his family when they were trying to escape some bad weather in the 1800s. He ended up surviving alone in the woods and terrorized people who would come through. Eventually, he was trampled to death by some people and horses passing that he had jumped out to try to scare. I forget how weird the name of the road was until I have to say it out loud. There are hairy man festivals each year in my town, and the hairiest man legit wins a prize. It's so weird. LMAO. That is weird. Okay, there's an urban legend in my hometown about a bus full of children in the 70s that went up to Gold Camp Road, this narrow dirt incline into the mountains, and went over the side, killing everyone on the bus. Legend has it that if you drive up the road and park your car where the bus went over the side, you'll get little handprints all over your car from the ghost children. And it's amazing how many locals believe this story. There's a rundown mansion outside of a small town I grew up in. Story is back in the day, the owners had a massive house party, but the second floor collapsed due to the weight and killed several. That could actually happen. The dude who owns it legit lives next to it in a small trailer. The driveway's really long and covered with trees, so we would try to see who could get the closest to the house before he noticed, and started shooting in the air with his rifle. I don't think kids mess with it much anymore, though. If it's that run down, he probably couldn't afford to fix it, and it was cheaper to buy the trailer to live in. I see that a lot with old properties and always think it's a shame. So far, I'm not seeing any long ones on this thread, but we're going to keep doing quick hitters. Next one is some people built a house in our town that's a waterfront property with a swimming pool for some reason. It's surrounded by security fence and even spotlights. People in the town refer to the place as a mafia retreat. I met the people who lived there. They're the second owners, although we don't know much about the original owners. The people who live there currently had it officially renamed to Mafia Retreat. Kids would always, this is a different story. Kids would always talk about a bridge called Gibbs Bridge being haunted. They would go there in like the middle school to be edgy. There were about 1,000 different stories about why it's haunted, but everyone claims they've seen ghosts or heard the pickup truck of a dead guy. I crossed the bridge once. It's barely even a bridge, and it's just over a tiny creek that's just full of graffiti in the middle of the country. Edit. Upon further investigation, this is more than just a local legend. It's a legitimate place that has been recognized as very haunted by ghost chasers and such. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's haunted, though. Next story. Last year on Mother's Day, a guy walked into my town's only grocery store carrying a severed head. It was his mom's. He stabbed a worker of the store and went absolutely batty. No matter how many people I explain it to, they all think he was from our little podunk town. He wasn't. He walked 10 to 12 miles to take his mom to the store on Mother's Day. It's kind of been a blessing and a curse, really. Weird hipsters stay away from our town, thinking it is filled with nut jobs, while crazy homeless, this says crazy homeless druggies flock to our town like it's Mecca. I don't know why they would do that. Just to be clear, the guy chopped his mom's head off, carried it 10 miles on foot to the grocery store, stabbed the dude, and then went batty. Okay. One of these is Blucifer. If you don't know who Blucifer is, it's the demon Bronco in front of the Denver airport. This person says, basically the sculptor designed a giant rearing blue Mustang statue to put in front of the Denver airport because they're home of the Broncos. But before it was finished, it collapsed and killed the sculptor. That plus the fact that its eyes glow at night and that it generally looks terrifying has created a local legend that it's sentient, demonic, and steals the souls of people passing through the airport. And there's a lot of stuff. Hang on, this is super bright, but I'm going to try to take a picture for you all. Show you what this is. What it is. Okay. That's Blucifer. And it does look kind of crazy. Denver airport's crazy, though. If you've listened to me talk about conspiracies at all in the last 7 years, we have talked extensively about the Denver airport. there's a lot of weird stuff that happens there. Way more materials are used to build that place than what was needed as well. So a lot of people think there's an underground base. But that horse is scary. I do agree with that. The next story is kind of long. Okay. We're finally getting into some meat and potatoes. Emperor Norton is the title of this. He was born in England and moved to San Francisco around the gold rush. Initially a well-respected businessman, he lost everything he owned with a risky investment in Peruvian rice. He faded into obscurity for a few years, maybe even left the Bay Area for a while before returning to prominence in 1859 by unilaterally declaring himself the Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico. He promptly began issuing decrees such as whoever after due and proper warning shall be heard to utter the abominable word Frisco, which is no linguistic or other warrant, shall be deemed guilty of high misdemeanor and shall pay into the imperial treasury as penalty of the sum of $25. Well, that's crazy. He also minted his own currency. It was all the bogus ramblings of a crazy person, but true to San Francisco's quirky spirit, the city basically played along. His favorite establishments accepted his currency as payment, and when he passed, the Chronicle ran a headline, Leroy est mort, and some accounts say 30,000 people on the streets for his procession, which is well over 1/10 of the entire city's population at the time. His bridge/tunnel decree was precedent, as today there's a suspension bridge between Oakland and San Francisco via Goat Island, now called Yerba Buena Island. And there's also an immersed tube carrying BART trains between the two cities. There was a community push to rename the bridge after him recently, but sadly it failed. Okay, that's kind of crazy. That's real. The next one is, I've lived in several towns, one with populations from 100,000 all the way down to towns 5,000 people. There's always a group of people, usually moderately successful in business, who party hard together. The rest of the town are convinced that there crazy stuff going on at these gatherings. Never been any evidence. No one's seen it. I think they're talking about like the Hollywood parties. That's kind of vague, though. Kind of vague. Okay. Chapel Hill, Tennessee. The stories vary based on who tells you, but I'll tell you the gist. Long ago, when the train tracks had to be manually switched, an operator was killed by an oncoming train. Legend has it that to this day, you can see him carrying his lantern down the tracks. People have reported moving through their cars when stopped on the tracks at night, so like a ghost train. There are videos on YouTube of the lot. Chapel Hill is a small town, so the lights from an airplane or lights from cars going in X direction don't explain it. Most people around here, if pressed, would tell you and tend to believe it due to so many people experiencing it. That one is kind of crazy. Okay, Landa. Native West Texan. I don't think you live in West Texas, but still. So La Llorona, Chupacabra, and aliens are very real to us. Chupacabra is usually blamed for livestock desks. What about deaths, sheep, and goats on small ranches? People will buzz about it for a day or two, and then it'll be over. No offense to the sheep, but if they're dumb enough to essentially kill themselves, and I don't think they need much help, we got a sheep hater. La Llorona wasn't part of my collective consciousness until I was older, but people keep their kids away from rivers. And that was very common in my area, though absolutely with good reason, because the water quality and flash flooding made it sketchy at best. Aliens. Now, that's one where I'm more willing to believe. West Texas is extremely empty, in case you've never been. So you do see strange lights in some of the darkest and most isolated parts of the country. That is weird and worth suspicion. One very localized one told to me by a Spanish teacher in high school that there was a ghost motel up one of the highways outside of town. It looked like a 50s drive-in motel, And when he first moved here, it was open. People were there, lights were on, and he stopped to talk to a desk clerk asking for directions. When he got into town, allegedly he mentioned this to a neighbor, and they told him the place had been closed for 30 years. He drove back, and sure enough, it was boarded up, abandoned, and in awful shape. People made a habit of going there out there on dares, and there's been some really weird stories, but I'm suspicious of the merit. That almost sounds like a glitch in the Matrix. North Texas. Let's find a good one. Okay. There's one road in the town that I was born in that's supposedly one of the most haunted places in New Jersey. It's called Clinton Road, and it's a really long stretch with all forest on one side and a lake on the other one with no fence in between or streetlights. People have reported seeing headlights behind them, then turning around and there's no car there, just seeing phantom hitchhikers, etc., etc. My favorite story, though, is that there's a ghost of a little boy that will throw your coins back into the road if you toss them into the lake. One time, my brother and I threw a little coin into the lake to see if what would happen. My dad noticed, so he slyly threw another one out the window and into the street. But we figured it out eventually. We were scared to death. W Dad for trolling. Okay. I've got a really long one. So I may hit this one and call it. I lived in Savannah, Georgia for a while, about 4 years, and it's collectively known as the most haunted city in America. I don't know about that. But anywho. So my girlfriend and I at the time got a place on Jones Street, voted the most beautiful street in America several times by Homes and Garden. But we got it for really cheap. Why? Because it had been investigated and found to be haunted. Now, I don't know if this is still the case, but apparently back in 2006, there was some kind of legitimate law in Savannah that if a place had been purported to be haunted, had some kind of investigation go into it, and if the investigation turned out that it was haunted, the real estate agent had to disclose that and also lower the rent. So we were about $150 to $200 lower on the rent than a lot of other people on the same street for the same size house. As it was disclosed, a father had locked his daughter in the attic where she had starved to death, and some weird stuff started happening, like giggling, door unlocking, pitter patter of little feet running through. I didn't think anything of it at the time. In fact, we slept in the room that had the attic door where she apparently was locked in and starved. But then weird stuff actually did start happening legitimately. We would lock the door. I'm talking 3 locks plus a deadbolt, and that lock or the door would open every time. Little feet running down the stairs. I thought it was a possum or a raccoon loose in the house. I never figured it out. Then the giggling downstairs started. It was always downstairs. Then my girlfriend started waking up, hyperventilating and seeing green as she said it, everything would turn green. But shortly after that, we moved out. In Savannah, there are many, many stories. For example, one of the biggest graveyards in Savannah is in the middle of the historic district, is the Abercorn Cemetery. It used to be open all day and night. You can walk through it, sit on a bench, whatever. But then they started locking it up at nights just because of too many instances of sacrificed chickens and goats and grave robberies. The reason is because Gula Gula people would come down from South Carolina lowlands to take the grave dirt and do sacrifices for curses and other rituals. You never want to find grave dirt on your front porch. Another thing is all the shutters in the city being painted Haitian blue to ward off evil spirits and keep them out. Another story is that everyone in Savannah believes that the Moon River Brewery is haunted. There's also a bar called the Moon River Brewery, and it has 3 stories. I guess there's a brewery and a bar called Moon River. But it's really, really busy, popular bar for locals and tourists. So they started renovating the 3rd floor to make more room. Okay, I think I'm getting it now. This is confusing how they worded it. I think it's a bar. Then on the second level is a brewery, and then the third level was empty. So they started renovating the third floor to make more room. But so many instances of tools moving around, a boy being spotted around, and people being pushed, things being thrown, ladders falling, entire crews would get freaked out. So it was a slow go. Moon River went through every contractor in the city and they all quit. Eventually, they just gave up, and the floor sits up there today. Nobody's allowed to go up there, and it's just half renovated. There are way too many stories to tell about Savannah, really. And I have heard that Savannah is crazy. I think anybody who's part of the ghosts and ghouls community would say that Savannah is kind of nuts. I personally have never been. I think I would go though, just to take a trip, see what you can see if any ghostly happenings happen. But on that note, I think we're done for the week, people. Let's see. I need you, if you're listening, everybody, to go out and choose our next adventure for next week. Share your stories with us. If you've got creepy stories, if you've got ghost stories, glitches, anything like that, share your story with me and I will share it to the world. If you share a story, that's going to be first priority, and then we'll get into the Reddit stuff. As always, share your recipes. Landa, thank you for sharing a recipe, and that'll be going out in the email today. And if you get on the mailing list, even if you miss a show, you will get an email from me with all the recipes, all the videos, everything like that. So maybe the most important thing is to sign up for the mailing list. But I appreciate everybody joining today. And I will be back next Thursday with even more recipes. We'll talk about even more crazy stories. And until then, thanks everybody. Peace.